Does your structure really reinforce and align with the heartbeat of YWAM? That real desire to see young people equipped, enabled, empowered. Is it sufficiently flexible to morph and to keep changing so that it can meet those strategic needs of the organisation? And I guess for each of us, there's a question as well about, am I sufficiently flexible to morph and to move into a next place?
In this morning, what came out to me is the very importance of the youth that we have to incorporate in everything that we do and say. Lauren's perspective specifically, it's a bit more of a governmental issue, but where he said even in our board of directors, which is the legal basis of every one of our YWAM ministries, we need to have people 20 years old, 30s, 40s, and then above that we can have our board of directors.
How do we make sure that the values shape the culture rather than letting the culture shape the values? We have to interpret values in ways that are culturally relevant. And again, that has been a challenge for the church. But our values should never be shaped by our culture. It has to be the other way around.
If you look at the ordinary situation, even in Africa, you find it is culture that determines where people are going. And even in the church, even in the body of Christ, there's a lot of people that struggles with that. How are you part of your culture, but how are you also a Christian? And I think YWAM, in that sense, if we can bring that through to our young people, and especially to us as a mission and the staff in the mission, from the DTS level, it will be incredible how we can actually disciple the nations.
If we are going to be in arts, I think, and we are going to influence arts, I think we have to be artists there. I'm not sure if we have the artists in the Y1 base, we are going to be an influence in arts. That's the thing. I understand that we can train others, but I'm not sure that we can really influence to be creative, to give a good model, if we are not in education, having our own schools. Not only influencing to other people to have schools and to create a school, but we as Y1 having schools.
And we've been looking at the challenge of how do we look at YWAM and the spheres, as I mentioned before. So now the question is, can we widen our net? Can we widen the scope? Lynn spoke very clearly and very graphically on it, drawing two circles on the board. And where the circles would intersect, that would be the values and the vision of YWAM. So therefore, looking at that, if whenever you look to someone inside of YWAM, alongside YWAM, the values and the vision should be part of it. And the phrases that was thrown around was those in YWAM, in other words staff, and those that are part of YWAM, that could be two different categories. Maureen got up and Maureen said, she spoke to Lauren on the whole issue of the live and learn, and we cannot negotiate that in the DTS setting, for instance. And that whoever comes into YWAM and will be part of YWAM as YWAM staff in the central circle will be people that has been through a live and learn situation.
Well, some of us have had the experience of talking to a leader who was blocking everything coming into what they consider to be their territory, and you talk to them and they say, well, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we have had, I would say most probably an unspoken, sometimes maybe a loud tension between the pioneering teams coming in and the local people being on the ground. What came out this morning very clearly is that neither of them would have the monopoly in the country or even in the ministries that they're going towards. German particularly said he would advise that every team going in will go specifically with an acknowledgement and with an advisory input from the local team that has been there before, recognizing what God has done in and through their lives already. But at the same time, the people that is on the ground already, whether it be global networks or just the straightforward YWAM base, that they will also acknowledge the giftings that comes in from outside and how God has released them, and I believe with that the acknowledgement of the word of the Lord to them.
How do you get a structure that really enables you to reflect what this mission is about, to reflect its strategic priorities, but that also reflects its heartbeat? And how do you do that in a way that uses all the talent in this room that is probably going to be healthy for another 35 years, so that you really are youth with a mission, but you can really draw on all of the experience and wisdom that's here? How do you do that?
I think Jill's whole scoop for the last few years has been to us that we need to look at the structure, but especially at this time, what will the structure look like? And again, emphasis was not necessarily on the structure, but on the values and the vision of the mission. What do we have to incorporate in the structure to help our values and our mission, and especially with a vision in mind, to keep that going?
But I'd like to ask you just for 3 or 4 minutes to quietly sit before the Lord, and let's examine our own hearts before God and ask this question: what is the next thing for me? What is God, where is my heart? What is God calling me on into? What do I want to move into for this next phase of my life?
Even though we had little time, I think this was why it made it so important that we were given time to pray. What does it mean to me as a leader? What do I write down for the future?